Hello everybody, welcome to our webinar about the Inventor interface in Cobra RF 2013. This will be the next release of Cobra and it is scheduled for end of summer, something like that, but currently we don't have a date. My name is Mirko Miller. I am a senior developer at DataM. I'm responsible for the Cobra parametric stuff, the spreadsheet, and the Inventor interface, and some other things. Now, the topics for the Inventor interface today are how to create a project or export a project from AutoCAD, how to import it in Inventor, how you can represent your project within Inventor, and how to create the 2D role drawings and the dimensions that will be created by the interface, and the templates that are used for this. As you might know, we already have an Inventor interface in the current Cobra release, but there are the complete project that gets created is just roles without any drawings. So you get a complete model, but you have to create your own 2D drawings from the roles. Now in this release, you will get also automatically created the 2D drawings from roles. The first thing you have to do is you have to create your part in your project in AutoCAD, and from there you have one button. It's the same as already known, to export the complete project settings for the Inventor interface. Just show you the button for this. For example, we have a project here. Sorry, that's a English version, but we just need this single command, so should be no problem. You have the three designed roles. You have this single button, write the Inventor interface data. So you have to click there, and all the roles and all the information about the project gets into the project directory. Then you start Inventor, and if you have installed the Inventor interface, that's a question during the installation of the Cobra software, you have an additional menu where you have all the Cobra interface commands. There you can create the project, and if you create a project, you will get a complete assembly of the Cobra project. This assembly has other assemblies inside. For each station there is an own assembly. And also the profile, if you create the profile, it's also as a part. No, it's also an assembly within the complete project assembly. In each station, there are all the single roles that belong to this station. And the roles itself, they are parts, Inventor parts. So we have all these elements together in one project assembly, and within the station assemblies, and in each station there are all the roles. I will show you over here. So you start Inventor, and then you have this Cobra menu, and you have the button for Create Project. By default, the directory is the last one that was used when exporting a project from Cobra. So we are already in the project. So, oh no, I'm okay. I didn't export it currently. So we had this one. I open this one. So then you get information about the complete project. So over here we have 29 stations, and yeah, you can select what you want to create, the complete project or only single stations. You can switch the sorting of this of the stations depending on what you would like to see. Then we have some flags, what should be created. So by default, the show profiling direction is on. You get a small arrow in the projects so you can see the profiling direction. You can set a flag for creating the profile section within each station. That's just a 2D sketch representing the profile in this area. Then you have a flag for creating the 3D profile, create bearings, spacer rings, and some settings for the file names, and a flag for create the complete project invisible. That's a little bit faster because if you set this flag, Inventor doesn't show you what he's doing during the creation of the project. If you don't set the invisible flag, then each role that gets created is also showing up in Inventor. It's opened, it's changed, it's closed, the next one. So in this case, you will see what's going on, but on the other side, Inventor has to create all this graphical information, and it's a little bit slower. So if you know what's going on, you just can set the flag and you wait until Inventor is ready. Then we have the possibility to set the position of our project. By default, it's the XZ plane, but you can define whatever you want here. You see the profile is drawn in this plane that we select here. For example, if I select the ZX plane, ZX is not good, let's say YZ, then the profile gets drawn here, and the profiling direction is always the Z coordinate of this plane. So in this case, it's the positive X direction. If we are here on the XZ, it's the negative Y direction, because that's the normal of this XZ plane. Over here we have the default of the title block that should be used for all the 2D roll drawings. We can change them. Over here you see all the available title blocks. I will show you later where you can define all these title blocks. So you can set the template, and okay, it's this one, and then just say okay, and you will Inventor will create this project. I don't do this at the moment because this will take some time, and I just show you the result. So the result will look like this. No colors. So you have the complete project with each station as an assembly itself. And here I also created the 3D model of the profile. And within each station, you see here, that's the station. And within this station, you have in this assembly all the single roles and also the sketch. You don't see, yeah, see a little bit here. Okay, of the profile. Now, when you have a project created, you can also change the position and the alignment of the project afterwards. You don't need to do this once when you create it. You can always change this later. So, for example, you can turn the profiling direction, you can turn the stations, you can set up the distances between the stations, and you can set the complete alignment of the project that you see here. So, for example, if we have this project like this, we have created the part in the XZ plane, and we might change the alignment. You see, I can have access to all this to create, for example, in the YZ plane. You say OK. The complete project gets arranged in the correct position. So the coordinate system of Inventor doesn't change. We really change the model inside. So that might be necessary if you want to add your project into another Inventor design of your machine, for example. If you have an assembly of your machine, it might be in a special coordinate system, so you can align your Cobra project to the same coordinate system. So you don't have to work with a lot of constraints within the assembly when putting the Cobra project into your machine for some investigations, for collision or whatever with the machine, stuff around it. So, oops, wrong one. Just change it back. And also we can change the profile direction. For example, you see here the profile direction goes here minus Y direction. And if I say turn profiling direction, all the stations just go to the other side, and we change the direction of the profiling. The station itself isn't turned, so it's not. It's really just moved the station as it was to the other side. But also you have the possibility to turn the stations also. So we switch back to the original direction. And if you would turn the stations, this station would really rotate about the Z-axis here. And this roll will be on this side and this one on the other side. But the position of the stations will stay here. So therefore you have all possibilities to arrange the project as you like it in the machine, how you define your the stations and the order of the stations, left, right, depending on from which side you look at the profile. Okay. Also over here we have a possibility to set up all the station distances. Currently these are the current distances. We can change the value here. So if I add a value here, all the stations behind this one will also move by this value. If I say plus 300, this will go to the current station will be 1000 afterwards, and the next one will be 1350, and so on. So you make it like this. You see, okay, they have all changed. So let's go back. If you really want to change one station, the position, without changing all the following ones, you have to enter the value here. I can say, okay, you have 800, for example, and this will be 800, and the other ones will stay. They don't change. So it's an easy way to change the profile, the stations within Inventor. Because manually you can do this all by setting all the values here. You see here is 350 of the first one. You can also change the value over here, but then you have to do this manually for all the ones if they should move. Now the representation of your project. We have some additional tools to create, for example, the parts in different colors. So the model itself has some intelligence. The roles know whether they are a bottom roll or a top roll or a left or right side roll. So also we can create the bearings of the rolls if they are set up in Cobra. All the attributes of the bore of the bearings are known within Inventor, so we can switch them on and off, and and also we can create these bearings from the data. So we create a simple representation just for example, for collision check, or just to see what is whether it's all okay, to get an overview. But it's not a real bearing that we have here. Then we can show or hide special objects, for example, all the top rolls or only the top rolls of selected stations. We can select objects by this for any manipulation within Inventor. We can colorize the complete project, and we can switch bore holes on and off. That's maybe interesting if you have the complete project within the assembly of your machine or the design of your machine. Then for you it's not necessary to see the bore holes, and Inventor has to calculate all the faces and lines and whatever. So that will take a lot of power, and if you switch off the bore, you don't. Inventor is a little bit faster handling all this data. So by default, we have some colors assigned or defined. So if you go to colorize, for example, you see, okay, we take first with my example. It will colorize the parts as defined. You can define your own colors or change the colors, the default colors, by just using the select features. For example, I want to select all, let's change it to here, view. They are all colorized. So if I select, for example, all the top rows, 21, I can go here and select just the different colors and assign colors to this selected. Take this as default colors, and the next time you say colorize, all the top rows will get this color. So you can define your everything, whether you can select here the rows by the axis, or you can also say the bearings, what color, and the spacer rings, and so on. Like you can select things, you can also hide. For example, if you want to take a closer look somewhere, I say, okay, I want to hide all the rows on the top, or for example, only the one of the first two stations. Then you see these are gone, the others are still there. Also, okay, if I want to show them again, I want to, for example, show all. So they are back again. The borehole, for example, if I select this station here, I can say deactivate the borehole, then the hole is gone. But I can just activate it, so it's not deleted somehow. The information is there, it's just suppressed, so Inventor knows that it doesn't have to calculate all these faces and lines and stuff. So now the big advantage now is that we get the roll drawings from Cobra. We have a lot of template roles that are defined, so we know what kind of role we have. What we are doing is we get the roles, the contour of the role, and try to figure out which kind of role it is. And if it's one of our templates, we will use these templates and set all the parameters and data, for example, for fillets, for chamfers, whatever, for the bore information, and create the role, and automatically also the drawing. As you can see here, you get a drawing and all the predefined dimensions of this drawing. And also you get a title block over here. And this title block is also configurable by template. So you have one template where you can define your title blocks. And when you create the project, as you saw at the beginning, you select one title block that you want to have. And this title block will be on each role drawing that we get. But you can also change this title block afterwards, after also when the project is already created, we can update this information. This cylindrical roll over here, and I can open the drawing of this roll, and I get this. So there are already some dimensions. I don't have to do anything. Maybe I have to arrange them depending, because Inventor doesn't arrange them always straightforward. They get mixed up somehow because of the when the template we have There you arrange all the dimensions, but if the parameters change, the role gets bigger or smaller or whatever, the dimensions don't keep their relative position to the role. They get positioned anywhere somewhere. So you can, but you can go here and just use normal Inventor functionality to just arrange what you see here. And down here you see the title block. So that's the title block CRF2 that we selected. Okay. So if you want to change anything, for example, we can define other title blocks and we want to have another one. We can do it like this. Over here we have an edit title block command. This will open the master drawing. You see the name, CRF master drawing, where all our available templates for the title blocks are stored. So if I take a look into the title blocks here, you see within here there are 3: Dean, Auric, CRF1, CRF2. And currently in this drawing it's CRF1 that we see here. The other ones are over here, and I can just go here and say I want to edit this thing. So you can put your information in here and save it, and or create another title block, a new one, as many as you like. And if you go to the Inventor interface, you see here is the list of all the title blocks that are available. They are taken from the master drawing. So these are the 3 we have currently, and currently it's CRF1 is the default. So here, okay, this is CRF2. So I created this project with a default of CRF2. So now I know, okay, I have CRF2. I want to have CRF1. So I say update title blocks. You see here, the new one is CRF1. And I just take the first station because this will also take some time. And the role we currently have opened is this one in first station. So I say, okay, update. And now I should get the title block from the master drawing, the other one. So, okay, now you see we have CRF1. So the drawing itself is the same, it just changed the title block. If you have to update it, you can do this like this. Yeah, and all the you can see here we only have a borehole. So yeah, what will happen if I have to change something? Yeah, that's what we just said. You can configure the title blocks by yourself. You can change the title blocks over all the role drawings in the project. And also you can configure or add additional dimensions or whatever you want to have in this template. So if you, for example, let's go back. This is the real role, and I select this one. I select the complete one. There is a role information command. So I know the roll number 69. You see here, that's CRF. The template is a CRF Kegel.ipt apart. So if I select this one and say I want to open the roll template, then I really get the template. That's the master template of all the roll parts. And if I open the drawing of this roll part, I get the template of all the roll drawings from this part. And within here, I can add things that, in this case, are always created on each roll that depends on this template. So, for example, you see here, the title block has no meaning within here because the title block we take from another, from this master drawing template. But the dimension here, if you put on special or if you create some other views, whatever here, they will also go to each roll that depends on this master drawing or on this template. So what happens if you want to change something, or if something gets changed in Cobra, for example, something has the flower changes or the rolls. We have the possibility to update the project. You can select what you want to update as before, and Cobra will automatically check which roles or stations have changed and will update them. Also, we have a collision detection within a small tool to where you can select several objects, for example, to compare for collision, for example, each station to the next station. So it's a little bit easier to handle when you want to select a special part than the complete collision control in Inventor. And if you can reduce the collision detection on a smaller selection, then it's also much faster. And we have some information of the roles. Yeah, that I just showed you where that's, for example, the role information where you get the information on the selected part. And where do their roles come from? Which template do they have? Yeah. So now if we want to change something, for example, we have here the role has just a borehole. So I switch to AutoCAD and take it's the other project, the channel. Okay. So that's what we see on the Inventor side. So the channel was exported with this default attributes without any roles. So now if I go here and select a bearing, both sides, symmetric, we have a diameter of 60, depth of the bearing is 20, and the radius, for example, is 1. Say OK. I get it like this. Then I have to write the Inventor interface. So all the changes are updated. Now, when I go into Inventor, into my project, and I say I want to update the project. In this case, I just select one because I know it's only this one. And now I say let's say create visible. So maybe we can see. No. So you see here, a role gets loaded, something is happening, and file gets closed again. Okay, we wouldn't have seen this if I've set the flag to invisible. So, okay, now the role changed. You see here we have this bearing inside, and if I open the drawing of this part, it's also changed. It has now the bearing inside. And the same, for example, on the other side, we have a role that has some retaining rings. Or if I go to the AutoCAD, you see here, this top role has some retaining rings. The attributes of this role, there is some retaining rings are defined like this, and you see them here. And in Inventor, they get also represented here like this. And if I say, oh, I want to take a look at all these additional objects, I say, oh, please create all the bearings and retaining rings of, let's say, the first station from all axes. Okay. Then you see I get here the rings and the bearings. Let's colorize so we have a little better view. You see that the retaining rings are green within and the bearings are red. And for example, if I hide the bottom roll, no, the top roll, in this station, you see, oh, okay, here are the defined bearings. So you can check your design also visually, whether all this bearings and stuff is available. Okay, let's show all the roles. Pick again. Okay, and for example, the drawing of this role, you see here, you have all the retaining rings inside, and it's also automatically created in the drawings. Sometimes Inventor has some problems to set the dimensions correctly. So you see here, there are some dimensions that are not at the correct position, but you always see them and you can just select them and put them to the right place. And yeah, so in this case, if you have a dimension in your template that you need, you won't forget it because it will be on the roll drawing. It might be not at the correct position, for example, but you know, oh, I have to put it somewhere, so you can't forget it. But unfortunately, we don't have any influence on this. That's just behavior of Inventor. And we currently don't know when Inventor is missing some information or losing the relationship. Maybe it depends on all different features we have. We have this chamfers, fillets, and so on, and maybe somehow it get mixed up depending on what's the current representation of the role, which features are active and which are suppressed. Okay, if a role is not recognized because, or a role contour is not recognized within our templates, because we cannot create a template for each possible role contour, you will get a user-defined role, and of course you won't get any dimensioning of a user-defined role of the contour of the role, because this contour is just changing, and you can't put any dimension in the template because you don't know how the contour is looking like. But you will always get the data and of the bearing and the bore hole, all this information that you create in Cobra. So for example, let's check whether we have a user def. Yes, okay. So for example, this 167 is user defined. So I say open the role. Okay, looks like this shouldn't be user defined because that should be a cylindrical role. So there are still some things to check, and let's take a look. So you always get the dimensions of the bore hole. You don't get any information. Yeah, and the width. In this case, also Inventor has somehow lost information to where it is, but just put it there and it's fixed. Okay, the contour in this case, it's just a cylindrical roll, but usually if this is a contour, whatever, then you don't get any information or any dimensioning on the contour itself because we can't put them in the template. That's obvious. So in this case, you have to create this additional dimensions in the roll drawing. Okay, one thing is just to show you the collision dialog, where you can say, okay, I want to check all these stations, whatever, and I want to check the rolls, for example. One possibility, I want to check rolls against, select set 2 against bearings, or I don't want to check against, I want to check them within, altogether within one in the selected stations, or I can check this collision for per station, or so I don't check all rolls against each other. I really want to check only the rolls within one station, whether they have some collision, and then check the next station, all the rolls. So this can be done with this feature here, because if you want to make this in Inventor, you have to always create your own selection set and make the check. And you can say, okay, I want to check not only within one station, I want to check the selected things from one station with my neighbor station. Whether this rolls of station 1, for example, are colliding with some rolls from station 2. So that's the check collision info. And okay, that's currently all I wanted to show about the new Cobra Inventor interface with our, let's say, parametric roles. Thank you for your time and your attention. And if you have any questions, please use the chat of the NetViewer and send them. So that's not a question, that's one very interesting. Okay, thank you.